Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. If you'll remember back in August when we were talking to you about the different position groups for LSU football, running back was comically deep. In fact, they had 8 scholarship guys at running back. Not necessary, but it was the actuality. And now, all of a sudden, you fast forward 6 months, and LSU's kind of thin at running back. Trey Bradford's time in Baton Rouge is done. Armani Goodwin has decided to move on as well. John Emery's eligibility is out. Noah Cain yesterday announced that he's going to declare for the NFL draft. Logan Diggs has entered the transfer portal. Now, all of a sudden, you kind of look up and you go, well, you got Caleb Jackson, got Trey Holly, got Josh Williams back for a 6th year. Williams came in 19 and redshirted. His redshirt freshman season was 20, but that doesn't count. So he's played 21, 22, 23. That's 4. Got one more. So all indications are that Josh Williams will return, and he'll have Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly. And then you go into this class, and you signed Caden Durham, who looks to be a potential star. And so your numbers are a little bit more condensed now. And you know what? It's probably better to have more, but at LSU, I'm just used to having a dude, and he's your bell cow guy. Darius Geis was that. Leonard Fournette was that. Now, Darrell Williams was here and was certainly helped there, but Jeremy Hill was the guy. You had Kenny Hilliard, Michael Ford, like back there behind him, but Jeremy Hill was the guy. I wouldn't mind if LSU had a guy this year. Now, I'd prefer it be Caleb Jackson. I sit there and I watch him in the bowl game, and I'm like, God, can they get this guy some touches? He got 2, and he turned them both into big plays that were eye-catching. And I would love it as a second-year player if he kind of came into his own. And you have Josh Williams there to take a few carries, be a situational back for you, can certainly handle all the duties on third down. Trey Holly's a very interesting prospect who had a big run this year. Obviously, has decorated a high school player as Louisiana's ever produced. State's all-time leader in rushing yards. And then you bring in Caden Durham and see how up to speed he can be, because that talent is intoxicating. But you don't really need 8 running backs. You got 4 guys you trust, that'll work. Caleb Jackson, Josh Williams, Trey Holly, Caden Durham, I can play with that. And you put him behind that big, veteran, talented offensive line, and I think LSU's offense is gonna lean on that pretty heavily. Certainly far more heavily than they did this past year, where, as you'd imagine, Jaden Daniels led you in rushing. He's a 1,000-yard rusher. He's won the Heisman, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. But I do think that LSU's running backs are going to be featured more heavily next year. That's almost obvious and goes without saying. But I do feel a little bit better about the passing game, having seen Garrett Nussmeier do what he did in the bowl game. I think before the bowl game, I was a little apprehensive going, I think Nussmeier's pretty talented. He might be a pretty good player, but if he's not, and he's a middle-of-the-road SEC quarterback or maybe a tick below that, like, they may have to run the ball a ton next year. And I don't necessarily feel that way anymore. I think Garrett Nussmeier has enough skins on the wall, enough time in the program and talent for me to surmise, like, okay, he's gonna be a pretty good SEC quarterback. They don't have to have the running back the running game prop him up. He'll be okay. And so now I look at the running back room and I say, the numbers aren't great, but I think the talent is coming right along. Because I think you look at that group and you see Caleb Jackson and you see what Caden Durham could become. Those are dudes. So Trey Bradford moving on, Armani Goodwin moving on, Noah Cain moving on, John Emery moving on, Logan Diggs moving on. That's 5 guys. Now it's time to trim that room down and up the reps for some of these guys. And I personally would like to see Caleb Jackson get a healthy workload right out of the chute against USC in Vegas next year. That's a name I'm going to talk about a lot in August. Probably going to talk about him a lot in like March and April too in spring ball, because that talent is something. And there was something keeping him from the field. And Frank Wilson has done this for years. He understands how to manage running back rooms at LSU. Something was keeping him from the field. I hope whatever that is gone come Labor Day weekend. Track star built like a Jeep Wrangler. Get him the rock. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.